We are live. Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds, and this is our Open Legend game sponsored by Open Legend and Brian Feaster. So we want to thank them very much for that. And I'm sorry we're running a little behind today, guys. We had a series of unfortunate events occur that led to us getting started a little bit late. So, as some of you may or may not know, me and Ted filmed Fridays before the game, and I was at his house and I forgot all of my notes and my notebook and all my cheat sheets to run the game at my house. So I had to run home, and then there were some YouTube flubs. So, but here we are. We're going to do this thing. We're going to do the thing. So, you guys want to introduce yourself and your characters real quick, and then we'll get rolling.
All right, I guess I'll start off. Hi, I'm Nerdarchy Ted, as you may well know. I will be playing Bunny, the Kobold Aetherficer.
And then I'll kick it to Doug.
Hi, I'm Staff Writer Doug. I'll be playing Raz Raketa, the Dwarven ex-military squad leader.
Then we got Megan.
Okay, I'm Megan Miller. I will be playing Not That Kind of Doctor, Lucelia Heliotrope, who's also an Aethermancer.
And then we got Ty.
I'm Ty Johnston. I am playing Israel Amadeus, who carries a sword and a gun. That's it.
And then that brings us to Bill, Professor.
Professor Bill, Comic Book University staff writer, jackass of all trades, master of none, and I can't seem to find my stuff. I can't find my notes or anything. Anyway, I'm playing former military because in the military we were never assigned an X. Doug, former military, Cobalt, who is psychic. That's it.
That's it. Nice. Well, you know, unless you're a mutant, then you can be an X. But so yeah, we have Professor Bill, Comic Book University in the house. Everybody else but Ted is a staff writer. Ted is one of the, well, you guys know who Ted is, probably. Also, you know, worth noting too is both Megan and Ty are novelists and write novels, and you can buy their novels on Amazon. At least that's the rumor I heard. And I also have an understanding that Ty in the near future should probably be killing Nerdarchy off in a novel. But with that, let's get started. We are in Grundlehelm, which is one of the 13 floating cities in our Aether Skies campaign in the world of Zontaria. The very first mission these guys went on together as a team, as a group, was into the mysterious 13th city known as Haven. Haven was destroyed in the war, and within the past 10 years, it actually has resurfaced and come back floating into the skies. The Aether is an organization that exists in all the cities. It is loosely connected. They have a conclave that comes together once a year. For the most part, they are a humanitarian organization. They just try to do the right thing for the world. But each sect operates independently, and they don't always agree on how to get things done. So generally they operate independently. But in this one instance, they decided that the problem is so big they need to unite their forces. They all have agreed that the biggest problem right now is the return of the city of Haven and the weird stuff that seems to be coming into the world ever since its reappearance. So with that, you guys led an expedition to check out Haven. You made it maybe a block, 3 blocks into the actual city itself after sailing through the skies of the gloom, unmolested, unhindered, which clearly was some sort of trap, because in the city itself, you've lost party members of the expedition. Some of them have been wiped from very existence. You don't even remember them. Copious notes had been made in order just to remember that these people even existed. As well as on the way out, Megan's mentor actually sacrificed himself by taking on too much power, too much ether, in order to blast a hole out of the monstrosities or barring their way, allowing the Morning Hawk, their sky vessel, to escape the gloom and limp its way back to Grundlehelm. Since then, they've been assailed by saboteurs and occultists alike. We ended last session with our brave humanitarians collapsing and exploding a building on a bunch of cultists, possibly ending the cultist threat here in Grendelhelm. With that, we can have time lapse, or if you guys have things that you would want to do right after, we can do that. The ball is in your court. Israel is not with you guys right now. The other 4 of you are together, though.
I would be for time lapsing, as I need to actually heal up some of the damage from being impaled by those evil, nasty daggers. I also, need time to gather the ether power to actually allow my gun to function again. And I don't know where we are on repairing the ship as well.
So, as it stands, you guys have actually only been back to Grundlehelm for a few days. A series of events kind of unfolded rapidly and fast. So, right now, until we actually hit the fast forward button, it is the day after you guys exploded the cultist hideout. The night before, 3 of the 4 of you experienced some terrible dreams related to recent activities. Both Ted and Megan's characters had a bit of a run-in with daggers, and Bill has a new best friend. Israel actually went off on a bit of a side endeavor for his sorry, I should have looked up this real quick. For Olaf Firestein, which is one of the officers that actually stopped in from the city that Ty's character Israel is from. So, Ted, you want to let time pass. You're resting, recovering from your injuries, and replenishing your fuels, your ether cells, for your weapon.
Yeah, I'm not crazy enough to directly control it like the elf is over there.
I would like to, during this time passing, sit down with Krizik and compare notes on the experience of this thing, because I'm sure we're both aware that we're hearing the voice, and I want to gather data because it's terrible, but it's also an opportunity to get some information.
Okay. Also, too, I don't know. Sorry, I'm looking at those guys chat with each other. They're confusing me. Ted has also been having issues as well. I just don't know if your character was aware or if he would have brought it up. Krizik has been pretty vocal about, yeah, this guy's been in my head talking to me, and he kind of brought that to the light of the party in actually one of the meetings.
So how much of a issue am I having?
Well, you had nightmares, kind of similar to the ones that Krizik has described, and you also have that strange scar now, and it's actually it shouldn't be a scar already, but it is.
All right, so I make no compunctures about it. I'd ask if anybody else was actually attacked by the dagger wielding cultists.
You were there. You were the only one that actually got stabbed.
Oh, okay. So Bunny have bad dreams after being attacked by cultists, and scar doesn't go away. You can lift the the little cruddy stained shirt and show the mark that still has the 10 eyes, 10 orbs.
Yeah, 10 diamonds, 2 rows of 5 of 5 on either side of the scar, and it almost looks like a brand at this point, in that kind of sickly yellow color.
Is it painful to touch, or is it bothersome in any physical way?
It's it's a little tender and it causes you some discomfort.
All right, I'm going to try something stupid. Probably the thing I say every time I start the mission. But I want to try and open my mind to the wound itself and see if there's any kind of psychic residue. I don't have anything specific for that, just my general precognition.
Okay, so you do that, and it is actually almost like you almost perceive almost like a cloud of dark energy around the wound. That it kind of pulses slowly, almost with the rhythm of someone's like heartbeat.
Me, Chris, I'm no doctor. This am thinking like living being.
What? Get it out.
Like a parasite.
Get
What
it
am
out. Get it out.
parasite?
Like worms or fleas. Something that survives from sapping the energy of something else.
Mm. And breathe a lot. Psychic breathing. Weird, kind of strange feeling.
Oh, so it's an astral parasite.
Hmm.
Can you brain squish it?
Can I try to see if I can psychically nudge it? See if it nudges back.
Yeah, give me a DC 18 check.
What does that mean, DC 18?
So 18 is your target number, but you're going to use your prescience.
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 Okay. Let's see. Oh, cool. I get an extra D10 on that. All right, baby. Papa needs a new pair of shoes. But I got a 4. So,
Oh, shit.
out of luck, Ted.
So what happens is when you focus your mind on this cloud, this entity of psychic energy, and when you try and psychically push it, like how do you envision that happening?
Literally like a prod. Almost like, you see something icky on the floor and you kind of nudge it with your toe.
Okay. So when you do that, you go to kind of nudge it with.
Whoa, you could, first off, Wolverine, you could stop pulling all those dice out from behind you.
Don't worry, I'm looking for a D4 and they always fall to the bottom.
He's going back for more.
It's because I haven't found the
fireball.
Yeah, mental fireball.
Dave also likes to, kind of fiddle with dice sometimes. So
I do tend to empty my dice, while I'm playing. Now that you've required me to use them.
Wait, we're playing Shadowrun?
Yeah. What is your resolve?
Let me see. Where would I find my? Oh, that's probably one. Okay, 13.
Your defenses. Okay. So you take 3 points of damage, of psychic damage.
Man, imagine if I kicked it.
as you kind of form a little bit of a hand or a finger with your mind and kind of like try to push it, and it basically does think about like a little piece of the symbiote suit, like how it freaks out. It kind of does that, scatters around your probe, and then piranhas at it.
Gotcha.
And slashing at it, totally dissolving your probe as you kind of yank your mind back from the assault.
Me and think is like a political snowflake. It bite back hard.
Do we know? Oh, sorry.
And then like after that, it seems the cloud seems a little agitated for a while, and it's really small too. It's like, only the size of like maybe like a grapefruit or so. If it was a little bit more elongated or oval shaped, and then it seems agitated for a while, moving around rapidly, and then it kind of settles back down to how it was when you originally perceived it.
So only Bill can see it, though?
Yes. For all intents and purposes, it does not exist for the rest of you.
Except we know it's there.
Well, Krizik said it was there, but yes.
I trust Krizik. He might be crazy, but he got me out of a bad place.
Not crazy. Ty's crazy. I'm just
Do we-
stupid. There's a difference.
Do we know where those two dwarven twins are? Are they in Grundlehelm somewhere? The
Yes,
Bright Tower twins?
Yes, they are. They're basically they're being kept at an asylum.
So Krizik, how we make it go away?
Thinking. Me and thinking.
Maybe we should go speak to Bright Tower twins. Perhaps they have similar affliction.
Well, it's certainly
They were
something
also
to do. Sorry.
I was going to say, they were also affected by whatever we encountered in Haven. Perhaps we can learn more through speaking with them, or if they have a similar wound to Bonnie.
All right,
It's
so
certainly something.
out of game question: Did we ever discuss like the 10 sets of eyes that Bill saw when he contacted the thing's mind? Do we have that association connection?
Yeah, I think we talked about it because it was the same as that creature we fought in the first session, because they had those eyes too.
So like, Bunny is pretty logical, and if we understand that the big cloud monster that we got away from is psychic, this thing that's on me is psychic, and there's that connection of the 10 diamonds. I don't want some kind of psychic spy attached to me right now. So we should look into making that go away if this thing is really going to be considered our enemy.
Hey, if I can interject, I've got an idea. I have the ability to major charm anything of less than normal intelligence. So, like, if I charmed in a mirror, I would probably charm myself. Joking, but like, we'll talk. I want to try and actually charm it. I would, yeah. If it's less than human intelligence, then it would be a major charm.
Okay.
Mind dredge. No, not mind dredge. Sorry, just charmed. Yeah, sway. Influence versus resolve.
Okay.
10. Okay, so D10 and 20. Is there a way I can chill and concentrate and ohm it up a little bit? Get an advantage?
Yeah, listen, I'll give you advantage one if you kind of like meditate and take your time in doing it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's an extra D10 then?
It's an extra D, whatever your rank is.
Okay.
But you wouldn't add up all the dice. The advantage means you would just ignore the lowest result on the D10.
Okay. 13. 21. I got a 21. Okay, cool. As opposed to an 18. So 21.
Okay. So what exactly you're going to try and do now?
Well, it's majorly charmed, so I'm going to try and see if I can communicate with it, convince it to go away, to walk towards the light and leave Bunny alone, stuff like that.
Okay. So, one of the things is you realize that it is whatever its mental construct is very, very alien and foreign from anything you've encountered before. and it's also intrinsically hostile. So as you do that, you're kind of using your charm to make it go away, and it begins pulling away from Bunny. But as it does, there's like strands that seem to be attached to each one of those diamonds, one of those eyes, as it pulls and it stretch, and it like gets so far, and then it gets like slaps back towards Bunny's side. So it seems to be trying to very much comply with your request, but it seems physically attached.
Is it in and of itself sentient?
You do detect a rudimentary sentience.
I'd like to try and communicate it. Yeah, communicate with it.
Ask what it's what it's here for.
Okay, sure, I could do that. So with Mind Dredge, what you am here for?
You get back a lot of snarling and animalistic impulses. So you don't get back speech. You get back more emotions and feelings. There's anger and hate and rage, and at the end, and hunger.
Hunger. Okay. I'm going to try and search for an image and see what it's hungry for.
Okay, so with that brings that actually that hunger, it kind of like it, as you explore that emotion, you also get this sense of longing as well, and it brings back the image of the creature.
The Cthulhu creature?
Yes.
Okay. Megan, you still have Megan. Sorry, Dr. Lucy, you still have Dr. Lucy, you still have dagger?
I proceed to withdraw the wrapped dagger from my bag and unwrap it, careful not to actually touch it in the process, even though I really want to.
You want to go back home? I say to the thing. The tumor.
Yeah, you absolutely get the vibe that it does want to return.
Hold the dagger near the thing?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to rest the dagger, not blade-wise. What do you call it? Flat edge of the blade on Bunny.
So it tries to dive into the dagger, and then but it's still connected by those strands.
What is that tether? I want to try and go in and try and see what that tether is.
It literally looks like a piece of the creature, and then but then it forms like these kind of like almost like quills that with barbs that are actually sticking into Bunny.
So is it just going to hurt like hell to pull it out? Because I'll do it.
God.
No, we'll count to 3 and I'll do it on 2.
Well, so here's the thing: it's not physically attached to him; it's psychically attached to him. So
yeah,
well, he wants to use his. He
wants
wants
to
use his psychic
brain
muscles.
matter.
Okay, use your make a I guess an influence attack.
Influence, okay.
Against Bunny's resolve.
Okay. Maybe hey, what happens if I were to sway Bunny and try and bring down his resolve?
My resolve is not all that high to begin with, so.
But if I were, because I could literally with a sentient creature, above animal intelligence, if they're hostile towards me, I can make them just angry so that they'll be, shout or whatnot, but they won't attack, and so on and so forth down the emotional spectrum.
So what you can do is you can absolutely do that, but what it would do is it would increase the amount of damage Bunny's going to take.
Okay, never mind. So
because you're gonna rip this thing out, and right now you're saying take off your armor.
gotcha. Okay, okay. So I guess I'm going to be telekinetically pulling this thing out. Really quick, I'm going to throw a precog into it. I'm going to see good idea, bad idea.
And that's your ability?
Yes.
Okay. Both.
Good idea and bad idea. All right, well. I got a 20, not a natural.
Okay.
Well, that's well above. Your resolve is 11, so.
All right, so you take 9 points of psychic damage as this thing gets ripped out and then sucked back into the dagger. Literally what you see is his aura being ripped apart in that area and explode out into this like little bits of psychic backlash. And you kind of see like psychic flotsam and jetsam kind of just floating there momentarily, and then it kind of fades.
So does it hurt my head?
Does it? Well, yes.
So like, that's literally half my hit points. So I grab my head, which probably looks weird to everybody else, and I just begin flailing on the ground.
I'm going to give the psychic impression of a Band-Aid in Ted's mind and Benny's mind, and pat him on the head a little bit and say, "Good bunny, it am okay, bunny." Bad thing is gone now.
I'll clap him on the back and use my presence-based heal boon. So you'll be okay, my friend. And that would be 9 points of healing.
That's literally how much I took.
Yeah, so you instantly begin to feel better.
You're looking better already, my friend.
I would like that dagger back.
So now your head is just kind of throbbing a little bit in time with your side, and
so it's gone. I'm looking at Bill's character.
Krizik. Yeah, I was nodding. Sorry, takes too long to find the mic key. But I'm like, yeah, and I'm gone, and I'm gonna go bye.
So I look at my side. I look at my side. Are the diamonds still there?
The scar is still there, yeah.
But what about the 10 diamonds?
It was part of the scar.
Oh, geez, the scarring was that as well? Okay.
Yeah. It literally looked like you were branded. So Israel, you've completed what you needed to do for your commanding officer, and headed back to get a brief on what was going on, and you kind of walk in to this tableau of Bunny screaming, and like he's got his shirt off, or at least open. He's and they're all kind of like standing around him, and you see Krizik over top of him concentrating. And then and then he starts screaming and rolling around on the ground, and Raz comes over to comfort him. There's a strange dagger being passed about.
Okay, the dagger. I'll kind of walk towards it. I'm not reaching for it or anything like that. But I want to use. I'll put my hand on the hilt of my sword. Basically, I have detection at level 1, and what I'm trying to do is basically figure out if this thing's magic.
Okay, it is not.
Okay, I'll remove my hand from the sword, then I'll walk forward and look at the kobolds and say, is this some kind of strange kobold ceremony you're taking part in?
Sure.
And if Bunny's still on the ground, I'll kind of nudge him with the toe of a boot and say, I'll actually also use my presence healing on him and basically say, "Get up, be a man, and walk it off."
we were attacked, and evil cloud monster left left scar and psychic presence on Bunny.
Me and psychic Dr. Krizik.
I knew I
Dr.
should have
Lucy,
killed that
Dr.
thing.
Krizik.
I knew I should have killed that thing when I had the chance.
I was thinking same thing, comrade.
Though rumor has it you lot blew up a building with people inside of it.
They were evil people.
They weren't people.
Good job.
Not so
Good
sure they were
job.
people.
They were cultists
But-
trying to summon this creature.
Seriously, I do want that dagger back.
Oh, take the dagger back. Take it. Oh,
I take it with my cloth and am careful not to touch it, but I do carefully replace it back in my bag with some degree of reverence.
So as
Reverence
the
or caution?
yes.
Both. Que no las dos.
Looking down at Bunny and you seeing the scars and the dagger kind of like drift by Israel, you definitely notice the likeness of the beast that you guys saw as you were departing the gloom.
Yes, I should have killed that thing. And I suppose no one would want to go back and kill it.
actually, I'm good for it. But I want to reach up and touch, crap, Israel's hand and give him the psychic impression of the dream that I had, because he wasn't there for that. So you get to see how it came to me in the dream, and it tried to convince me. It tried to bargain with me to join it, to help free it, and to see you get to see how powerful the damn thing is.
Israel will jerk his hand back and say, "I didn't give you permission to touch me."
Oh, me doing
Good
saying
point.
like cobalt love ritual. You am good looking human.
Oh my.
The power of uncomfortability. awkward psychic abilities.
So with that
You want to touch me? Ass.
I'm glad you broke up for that.
all right. So what are you guys doing now?
So this is the next day, right?
This is the next day. Yep.
All right. So I've gotten back half of my lethal damage, so it's still the brand probably still looks horrible and angry and whatever have you. We need to at least I at least need to get the status update on what's going on with the ship repairs. Even if I am going to get some more rest today, especially after that horrible psychic assault.
Okay. So with that, if you guys want to fast forward like a week and guys kind of recuperate, you see like different stories that have kind of started circulating about the attack on the cultist place. Some of them are kind of like basically there was a fire, but it was it got under control quickly. Others was like a building collapsed and in the lower ward. And then but then there's these other like more nefarious rumors going about as well, that it was basically some kind of terrorist attack on Grendelhelm from one of the other cities. So there's a bunch of rumors floating around, and there is a couple newspapers, and they're covering the story from different angles. But it's not really, because it's in a disused part of the lower ward. It's definitely not front page news.
Speaking of news, how are the Beasts doing? Have they played their game yet? Weren't they here to play?
Yes, they were. They actually trounced the gremlins, and they actually put their seer out of commission for at least a couple games.
Wow.
So they're marching their way, towards the championships, and they seem nigh unstoppable at this point.
Frivolous activity.
But and then probably that's actually what is taking up the front page is the beasts, and there's spotlights on the different players. There's also a piece on the gremlins and how they're going to recover. And are they going to be able to produce another seer for their next competition? So also, one of the things that'll happen during that week, Bunny, is you'll continue on with the repairs on the Morning Hawk. They're coming along nicely. At first, you got a little resistance from the maintenance crews and the workers, but slowly but surely you've been winning them over, and they've come to truly respect you as as an engineer, and for the other artificer that you are. And the fact that your work ethic is, instead of just sitting there and telling them what to do, you're constantly jumping in and working alongside them instead of just overseeing.
Yeah, I would try to, whenever possible, like point out like, oh, well, you're trying it this way, but if you do it this way, it's far more logical, and would do it in a way that doesn't look like I'm trying to like disrespect them, but more like lift them up and teach them.
Nothing you do is gonna make them feel better. They're being outsmarted by a kobold. By the time they're done working for you, so the suicide rate is gonna increase by several percentage points.
That's all right. That's just Bunny's bad luck.
But so that's been moving along really well. Doug, where you're staying, you receive a message to head back to HQ.
Okay.
And there's somebody there waiting for you.
I'll do that. Post haste.
So, and also you had looked into the twins, and you found out they're at the asylum of Grundlehelm.
If during that time jump, would I have been able to go see them at all?
You would have, yes.
I was kind of curious if they had a similar wound to Bunny, or if they had any visions. I know they might be kind of crazy, but I was curious if they had like a similar affliction.
Okay, so it's going to take a little bit of red tape and bureaucracy for you to get your appointment with them, but you're definitely going to be able to get in there and see them. And also, like, they give you this whole line about they have good days and they have bad days, but they've been bouncing in and out of a kind of catatonic state.
They were dwarves, right? Also,
they were.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Doug, would you have had the forethought to bring Krezk with you to try and see whether he could reach out to their brains and see what's going on?
That's kind of what I was thinking. I didn't want to, dictate what Krezk did, but yeah, I mean, I was kind of that was my thought.
Yeah, sure. I mean, not doing anything.
Like maybe if the longer you have that wound, if it's not treated, maybe it drives you crazy over time, and that's what had happened to them.
So in the meantime, anyone who actually wants to be at HQ can be. More than likely, Bunny is on the Morning Hawk. I believe that's where you're going to spend most of your time, between overseeing and I think you said you're actually going to sleep there, right? Isn't that what you wanted to do?
Yeah, especially after the spy, I would probably throw a blanket or something in the engine room. Me and my pile of junk.
You do that, and once the crew notices you're sleeping there, you don't really know who did it yet, but somebody hangs a hammock for you, and no one is fessing up to it.
Oh, they like me.
So back at HQ, there is actually a gnome and Sliznor Takis is his name. Well, Sliznor Takis Gorzenstein is the gnome's name, and he kind of like introduces himself, but he's like, most people just call me Sliz. He's got this crazy white hair that goes like all over the place. If anyone's played League of Legends, he kind of looks like Hammerdinger, and he's got these goggles with multiple lenses of various shapes, sizes, and colors. And when he sees Raz come in, he introduces himself first off and says, I heard you're looking to have some boots looked at.
Indeed, I am. I mean, I guess they'd probably be back in my room. I wouldn't have brought them with me, but how did you find this out?
The Commodore sent for me. Commodore Flizenhauser.
Ah, I see. Yes, if we've been trying, we had a intruder on the Morning Hawk, and we prevented him from getting away. He was wearing these unusual footwear. We've been trying to figure out where they might have come from.
So he's wearing kind of like workman's clothes, and they definitely look like they've been thoroughly. They look clean, but they look like they've been thoroughly used in the act of working on things. Or smudges and things and stains that just aren't going to go anywheres. And on the apron that covers the front of him, there's a disc, a circular disc, and it is actually metal, and it's stamped. And part of it is enameled in looks like a gray building, 3 gray buildings, and then across them on an angle is a black bar.
Do I recognize that symbol at
all? Drop a what's our mental for intellect, or either logic or what's the other one that I want?
Learning?
Learning. Yep.
Well, I have 0 on both of those, so it's just a D20. 4.
A 4. Not familiar with it. I mean, you definitely think it is something from one of the lower wards, one of the manufacturers, but offhand you just don't recognize it.
Okay. I guess I would invite him back to where I'm staying, but I'd be wary just because it's like I don't really know who he is.
Right.
But I guess he wouldn't be able to get into our headquarters if, right? Like, unless he was legit, right? Because of the security and stuff.
One would think, but then again, you guys did have a saboteur. So you might, at the same time, you might be a little paranoid.
Yeah,
That's
so I'll keep an eye on him. Why don't I'll ask him if he can wait here, and I'll go get them and bring them back.
He says that's fine. He says, he kind of seems a little bit impatient, like he's got things to do, but he's like, it can't be helped.
That cannot be helped. Correct. Well, I would do that quickly, but maybe like on my way to and from the headquarters, could I stop and see the Commodore? Or somebody and just kind of verify, like, is this guy for real?
Well, I mean, the documentation that was sent to you was official anyway.
Okay. Well, then, I guess I would just go get the boots and come back quickly. But while I'm going back to my place, I'm going to, kind of keep an eye around just to see if there's any people maybe tailing me or anything. And then I would just bring him back.
Okay. So, so you... Give me a perception check to see if you notice anyone following you.
All right. Ooh, I exploded the 20, so let's see. 33.
So if you do exceptionally well in a perception check, do you just become paranoid of everything?
Sure. That guy's following me. That guy's following me.
They're all following me.
Yeah, I'll just start taking like different side streets and making it take like 3 times as long to get back to my place.
So you definitely you're paying attention. You don't notice anyone out of the ordinary. Everyone seems to be minding their own business. You're actually able to pick out some basically like criminals doing pickpocketing and other people loitering, but no one. You pick out some things that other people aren't noticing, but it doesn't seem to pertain to you.
Okay. Then yeah, I would just get those boots, probably conceal them like in a under my coat or something, or in a backpack or bag, so I'm not just walking around with these fancy boots, and head back to the headquarters to meet with Sliz.
Just want to point out, you literally went from just showing them off at the dock for everyone to see.
Well, different circumstances. Now I got a lead on it, so I don't need to be showing them off like that.
All right, so you get back, and the gnome is sitting there waiting for you, Slits, and he sticks out his hand for you to hand him over, and he starts examining them. He pushes the button to release the fins.
Have you seen anything like this before?
Yeah, they're a common issue for elite forces that are going to be spending any time on the Aether ship.
Really?
It's a long way down if one goes over the side.
This is true, but they seemed quite unusual to everybody here, and they're common issue. That's unusual.
Well, their common issue among elite forces, which are a smaller portion of the military.
Okay.
So, but the funny thing about the makers of most Aether Fice, they all tend to be a little bit on the what's the word I'm looking for? Eccentric side, and they take pride in their work. So, he starts tracing something along it. He's like, and then he starts like flipping through the different lenses rapidly, and he goes, "Yep, right there," and holds it up, and as if you should be able to see something, but you can't see anything.
I'll pretend like I do. Like I see.
And then he flips up his visor, and he goes, right, and he reaches into one of his pouches and pulls out a little bit of looks like glitter or dust or something, and then sprinkles it over top of an area on it, and with that you can actually see like a maker's mark.
Okay, what does that look like?
It's just a wrench with some runic looking script on it. And he says, "Not from around here. You won't find that in these parts."
Is this something you have seen before?
I've seen the work before, but it's very, very rare. It comes out of Udenberg. This is definitely another Ficer from Udenberg. Those stuck up. How they're stuck up over there. Sure, all of us cities, squabble and don't get along so great, but those are the worst.
I'm curious if someone had access to this kind of technology, what interest they would have in our ship.
Well, I don't know a whole lot about the ship. The colonel has told me just enough to help you with this investigation. We go back quite a ways. It's the Blackstaff Foundry has actually been, we worked on pieces of it, but most of it was assembled from different places.
Do you know of any ships that were recently coming and going from Udenberg?
Well, that's just it. Ships generally don't come and go from Udenberg, and when they do, Udenberg goes out of their way to conceal their movements. They don't interact with any. Well, you would know all this. They don't. You know that they're very xenophobic, and they don't
Okay.
interact with the other cities.
So this guy was probably aboard another sort of ship, or traveling with the team. Um. Right. Is there any way, like, can we use these boots?
Yeah, as long as they
Or-
fit you.
Oh, okay.
They basically kind of function like parachutes.
Okay. Not sure. Let's see. So, well, I mean, so we know that they're probably from Udenberg. What else did Commodore Flitzenhausen tell you about the investigation? Just that we were looking into these boots, or
just that you had a piece of artifice you wanted me to look at.
okay. So there's nothing really unusual about these, other than that they're usually from elite forces, but like these particular boots aren't like unique in any way.
No, just where they're from is kind of unusual, or isn't at least isn't seen.
Right. All right. Well, Sliz, I'm definitely appreciative of your time to meet with us. I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
Do not worry about it. I will actually. He kind of like does some scribbling on a piece of parchment. I will actually look into the make itself and see if I can't find the actual artificer or etherficer that crafted it.
Can you read? Can he read the runic script on there? On the little logo.
He believes it's actually like the name of either a house or a company. But it's
but
also
not one from here.
No, it's not from here.
All right. I don't know what else he can really tell me.
But I do keep I keep a log of all the different etherficers I've encountered. I want to see if I can find this sigil amongst them.
Okay, I mean, is he going to do that right now, or is that going to take him some time?
He's gonna have to do some research. So I will send word if I find anything.
Please do.
So with that, he takes his leave.
All right.
So
I'm gonna put on these boots. I'm gonna start wearing them.
Okay.
Little point of note when the information kind of gets back to all of us. This is essentially a parachute. That must mean he's got a way to get from down below back up. So down below might be a worthwhile search option for us for our next clue.
Like the surface?
Yes.
Or he had a ship waiting underneath.
Well, there's that possible.
Or something.
How high? I mean, these cities are like in the clouds, right? I mean, they're like...
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, we were already at the bottom of the city. From what I remember of where our ship's docked.
Yes, that is correct.
So it would be, possible, but not exactly, regular likely that there was a ship down there waiting for this guy to finish up.
I kind of just assumed it was like desperation thing. At that time. Like just
I thought he was jumping to his death. I mean, if he's got parachute boots, that changes the investigation. At least in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Lucy, is there anything particular you wanted to look into?
I am doing further research on this dagger and overlooking the notes that I've taken on things that have gone on, like any samples that I might have gathered when we were in Haven. just general research things.
Okay.
Yeah, she's got to find a way to contact this thing so she can get her warlock pact.
Well, that's easy. Just cut yourself. No. So basically, in order to do what you want to do, you're probably going to start having to like troll like occult stores, which more and more of them have popped up ever since the psychics have been manifesting amongst the general population. And so basically, it's going to be like an afternoon of a lot of window shopping.
Oh, I have no problem with this. I'm like trying not to be openly disdainful at all of the people who are pretending to be mages, but
So with that, give me a what kind of check do I want? So I feel like what you're doing is somewhere between mental stats and your social, but I guess we'll go with learning.
okay, good. Does this count as theoretical arcana?
What does that mean if it does?
Hold on, I don't have it open. Let me look that up really quick. I have a feat.
I have a feat. I have two.
I have knowledge theoretical arcana.
What? Okay. So what did you get on the roll?
16.
16. Okay. So you definitely will gather up some information. When you're researching and visiting different stores, you have to like kind of wade through a lot of like nonsense and charlatans, as well as you do find a couple of the real deal. And there's a strangeness about the metal, and the metal itself is made of ESP metal, ESP.
Okay. What exactly does that mean?
Well, it's very rare, and it is actually used in conjunction with psychic energy. It acts as a conduit.
So we
That
had
is interesting.
we had 3 of these daggers. I'm certain she'll ask, but is the metal itself valuable? Since you said it's rare.
It is. More so to people that are psychic.
Well, in that case, I should probably go find Krizik.
Okay, what does that feat do? Are we still looking?
Oh yeah, I have it up. When I have tier 1, so you automatically succeed on any action roll to your chosen sphere of knowledge with a CR of 16 or lower. For higher CRs, your learning attribute is considered to be 3 for the action roll, unless your learning score is already 3 or higher, in which case you gain advantage 1 on the roll.
Okay, so you can so it was 16 without advantage, right?
Yes.
All right. Do you want to drop the advantage die just to see if it changes the roll?
Yes, it changes it to 19.
Okay. So what that actually reveals a second trait to the S metal, where it is not actually just S metal. It has been changed in some way.
Okay.
And there is another underlying, for lack of a better word, energy that has kind of been fused with it. Not just the psychic energy that maybe you've been exposed to either through different psychics you've encountered, or Krezk, there's something fundamentally different about it.
And I don't suppose that has something to do with the fact that it's being possessed by an astral parasite.
It could very well be that. But that being said, like, if it was just a psychic parasite, it would be the same. But there's definitely a different nature to it. It's been fundamentally changed. There's another underlying energy. Like, for instance, like if it was psychic and ether, right? But it's not ether, it's something else, but you don't know what that something else is.
Intriguing. All right. I'm going to write all of this down and then go to review my notes.
Okay. All right, Bunny's ship. Raz eventually wants to go check out the Bright Tower sisters. Krezk and Israel, what do you guys have in mind?
I'm with Ty.
Well, not necessarily, just in general.
I actually thought I was with Raz the whole time. That's why I was just like,
Oh,
no big deal.
Israel will basically hang out at the ship working security. He will stay out of Bunny's way and the other workers. But basically, he's going to work security there, and from time to time try to stay in touch with the other party members to kind of bring all of our various information together.
okay. So, so with that, you probably have kind of picked out some individuals that maybe you screened that you're kind of using for your runners.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Preferably,
I imagine
preferably human.
yes, that's what I was going to say. I imagine they're human, and possibly even you may have screened enough that you could find a couple that are of the faith.
Okay, that would even be better.
So, so you're definitely able to do that. One of them is a grizzled veteran named Gunther,
Oh,
and the other one is basically a new recruit named Jeremiah.
okay.
Basically, fresh cadet.
I will use them as runners and possibly as security. Because I don't plan on sleeping at the ship. I mean,
Okay.
I figure it unlikely the crew will give me a hammock.
Yeah, so the Jeremiah is definitely much more flexible in his views. I mean, he's definitely of the faith as parents were, and just his ancestors from way back when. So he is part of him, but very much like someone that's just kind of raised into it. Where Gunther is, he makes you seem tolerant.
Okay. So he probably looks at me the same way I look at Jeremiah.
He may, yes, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
maybe not quite so much, but he definitely, there's definitely grumbling and griping about having to deal with the other races, and this is our problem, we should just handle it, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. But I don't know why we didn't just get an army together and invade the city in the first place.
And he totally, I 100% agree. I mean, bunch of yellow-bellied cowards, I tell you.
Instead of all this sneaking around stuff, and
like we're supposed to be afraid of a little dark.
it's what torches are for.
Here. Good to see they're finally raising up some officers with some sense.
Yeah, instead of off playing, what's it called? Etherball?
Ugh, don't even get me started. What a waste of time.
Yeah, no kidding.
And then
Jeremiah,
he totally goes into like an old man speech about kids and their sense of responsibility and work ethic these days.
And get them off my lawn, especially those kobolds.
Yeah, absolutely. So Raz and Krizix heading to this asylum.
Yep. Sounds good. So, yeah, did you mention like the red tape and all that? Is this kind of like past? We've done all that now.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like the end of the week where
Okay.
you're able to, and also too, like how much. So Israel has been kind of sending these two different guys, Jeremiah and Gunther, back and forth with all of you, and Jeremiah is fairly easy to get along with and deal with. But whenever you have to deal with Gunther, it is a huge pain in the ass. He obfuscates anything he can intentionally. He follows whatever orders he's given to the letter. But it's annoying to deal with. You have to pull every piece of extra information out of him, and you can just tell that he's just got disdain for anyone that is not human.
I would probably be just as much of a pain in the ass right back at him.
So I guess my question is, how much information have you guys been sending back to Israel, and is that information getting networking back to the rest of the party?
I would have told him just that I met with Sliz and those. Basically we were just kind of chatting about it in the private thing, but I would just relay that, like, look, that spy in the ship, I don't think there was anything more to it than just people wanting to steal new technology. But that, like, there's a friend of the Commodore who's might know who made the boots, and they're pretty much sure they're the person's from Udenberg, which we kind of suspected already. But and I would relay that me and Krizix are gonna go talk to those Bright Tower twins to see if it's related to Bunny's wound and the dagger and the cultist.
Okay, so Bunny, for you, it's like the easiest because literally you actually will be speaking probably directly with Israel because you guys are on the ship together.
Right.
So you have a lot less dealings with his underlings, other than maybe if Jeremiah gets bored when he's patrolling, starts asking questions. Again, like I said, he seems actually more tolerant than Israel himself. Dr. Lucy, what are you doing with your discoveries?
Well, I am certainly not speaking to any runners about this. So that is a potential security leak waiting to happen. I'll wait and report personally. And I'll let them know as much.
Okay. So at some point, Israel, you will find out that you think Dr. Lucy has information, and it will either come to you at her leisure or you're going to have to go to her.
I'll stay with the ship and give it some time. If it's that important, she'll come to me.
Okay. So looming before you guys in the middle ward is the asylum, and the asylum is kind of tucked away off to the side, basically in a corner of the city that gets less traveled. People, even when they're just kind of like walking by in the streets, kind of tend to stay on the other side of the street or cross the street as they get closer to it. There's huge wrought iron gates outside. It's a walled facility. There is a bit of a manicured lawn, one of the few actually in Grendelhelm. And as you guys approach up the walk, there is a doorman that lets you guys in once you show the proper credentials, and you can see basically like doctors and nurses with patients, well, orderlies actually, with patients out on the grounds, probably like the more benign ones, some of them being wheeled around in chairs, and others just kind of like meandering around while the orderlies just kind of watch them and make sure they don't hurt themselves or anyone else or get into any kind of trouble. Basically, when you look at this place from the outside, I kind of think of like the Arkham Asylum.
turn to Kresik and say, "Be careful in here, my friend. You're one step away from being admitted yourself."
Bite Krizik.
It's in jest, my friend.
Always in jest when I tie your brain stems together psychically.
You're crazy, Kresik. Always with the joking.
Yes, but sometimes it's true.
So when you guys actually get inside the building and there's like a front desk where a matronly orderly is working, and she looks very stern and kind of has that demeanor of like a military nurse. And
I'll approach
yes.
the desk.
Yes, what can I do for you, gentlemen?
Hi, we are here to meet. We had an appointment to visit with the Bright Tower twins.
She starts fiddling with a couple of clipboards, finds the one she's looking for, flips a page, and goes, yes, you would be Raz.
Bah.
And your relation to the patients?
They're colleagues. We were with them when they were injured, and I just wish to check up on them and see if they're okay.
So with that, she reaches to the side and pulls one of the cords, and a bell kind of rings off in another part of the asylum, and shortly you're joined by two burly gentlemen that are clean shaven and just have kind of a look of disinterest from someone who's been doing this job for quite some time. And even though you have been here a short time, you've already seen a bunch of sites with people kind of acting out and being strange, people screaming for no reason, people talking about things that aren't there, some people just talking to themselves, in some cases arguing with themselves. And so the woman turns to them, to the other two orderlies. How are the Bright Tower sisters today? And the one guy to the left, the guy's a little bit plumper than the other one, shuffles forward. They seem to be having a better day today than they've had recently.
This is a good thing. Could you show us to them, please?
The other guy kind of like sarcastically smirks. Is like, good is kind of rather relative in this place.
I can see that.
So with that, you guys are led into down a series of hallways to what appears to be a common room where different patients are just kind of hanging out, playing games with each other, talking to each other, or just generally acting insane. And you can see, off to one corner, there is a set of chairs and a table with the Bright Tower sisters seated at it, just kind of staring at each other. There is a deck of cards placed in the center of the table, and it looks like they seem to be half playing a game of cards.
Okay. Like we'd spent time on the ship and stuff, so like, I mean, they might be out of it now, but like we knew each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I will approach the table and sit down and greet them. What were their names? Did they their first names?
Their names.
Did we know?
Yes. You did and do. Quadria and Dwalin.
All right. So yeah, I would sit down and greet them. Can I tell them apart, or are they like identical?
You can. After it takes you a moment to distinguish them, they're very similar in appearance.
Okay.
And so they kind of start a little bit when they see you. Their eyes go a little wide, and then they're just kind of looking at you a little bit askance, and looking at each other. and you kind of get the feeling like they're talking to each other.
Okay. I'll kind of like turn to Chris, like, see if you can, if you're picking up anything. And I would just, like maybe take one of their hands and say, "How are you, my friends? It has been some time since our perilous journey. I wanted to check up on you and see if you're okay."
The dreams bad, the dreams bad, bad dreams bad, the bad dreams. So as they begin to speak to you and talk with you, they have a stutter that they didn't have before, and their movements are kind of shaky.
Let me ask you, in your dreams, do you see a set of eyes staring back at you?
With that, you believe it's Dwayne that kind of launches herself at you and grabs you by the lapels, and is kind of like hanging on you and like in your face. I see them all the time. All the time. They won't stop looking at me.
Is it speaking to you in your dreams?
They speak to me all the time. There is no dreams. Am I dreaming now?
No, my friend. This is the waking world. Did either of you get a strange scar from our time in Haven? Were you injured?
Cordelia stands up and leans on the table and kind of like pulls her sister back and pats her on the shoulder. And what do you mean by scars?
Like a wound that looks like the eyes that haunt your dreams.
I think that is the scar.
Are these ladies psychic?
They are.
Yeah.
Then did you make a deal with them? You would make deal with these thing, this eye thing, big Grand Poobah turkey thing?
That creature is vile.
You take that as no?
It makes our skin crawl to think about it. And it's not the only one. There's others. Every night they come, a different one.
All as strong as first?
I don't even know at this point. It's hard to tell when we're in the dreams and when we're here.
Has anyone else come to visit you here?
They look a little confused, and they kind of both answer at the same time, yes and no. So one of them says yes and one of them says no.
It's okay, my friends. You can tell me. We're trying to help you.
They both kind of like break out to ruckus laughter and like full on belly shakes, and finally they kind of calm down and like, I can't tell the difference between when I'm here and in the dream.
Well, have any humans come to visit you in this place? I guess I'm thinking like because they were trying to get Krezek, maybe that's kind of like where I'm trying to steer it.
Here's what I was hoping to do. I want to try something, and I want to try one at a time, but persistent. I want to try and charm just one of them. I'm not going to go for both of them. One of them, so as to calm her down as much as I possibly can. And then after that, I want to try and do my mind. What do you call it? My muffle. No, specifically my muffle. I'm going to try and silence the voices in her head. I know that she's getting a lot of crazy coming in, like a whole lot of information coming at the same time. And I'm thinking that if I can just silence that external information so she can just, focus on my voice, then maybe I can give her just that moment of clarity to really tell me something special.
Okay, so so you're trying to like muffle it, calm it down. All right. In order to do that, you're gonna basically make an attack against her resolve.
Uh, 18.
Okay, so yes, you're absolutely able to begin to like quiet her down and muffle her thoughts.
Okay. So now, just you know what? She's had too much. I was going to do this mind to mind, but she's probably had way too much of that. So I'm going to say, you know what? At the same time, I'm more elegant in my mind. So I'm just going to say, when did these dreams start to happen to you? No, they can't hear you now. It's only you and me.
Okay, so instead of a conversation that you're expecting, what you find is you find yourself back in the gloom, back in the city of Haven, and you're there, but you're not there. You're standing and walking between the two sisters. As you instantly like you can see their military training come out as they move and investigate one of the side streets. They were basically running one of the flanks for the main team, and they one hand on a pistol, one hand on their broad bladed dwarven daggers. Heads on a swivel, looking all around. When one of them, Dorleen, notices something and nudges her sister with her elbow, off in the shadows, peering out from one of the alleys. So they begin to investigate it, and they move closer. And in the alley, floats a disembodied face, and as they get closer, the face has no eyes, and it's the face itself that seems to be glowing with this eerie green luminescence, and both of them in unison kind of get spooked and begin backing away. As they do, from that alleyway shoots out these luminescent tentacles of green, striking each of them. Or not each of them, striking Dorleen, the one that noticed in the first place, directly on either side of her temple. She screams in silence as her sister, grabs her by the shoulders and by her coat, starts dragging her away. And you see those tendrils that are kind of like moving and shaking and vibrating, and as is Darlene, and you see her sister struggling to pull her. You see every fiber in her being is essentially taut. You see all of her muscles straining, and she finally rips her sister free of the tendrils with this sickening plop sound as they pull out of either side of the temples, and they kind of like fall together and tumble back. And half crawling, half running, Cordelia is able to drag her sister back to the group, and that's when you kind of like see through Cordelia's eyes, your party and all the horrors that were assembling and kind of like bottlenecking the team, and she's barely able to keep it together long enough to keep dragging her sister to the rest of you guys, and she's muttering that we got to get out of here, we got to go, we have to get out of here. It's too late, and that's when the captain had called for the retreat, and you began systematically withdrawing from the city. And from there, you pretty much know everything that happened. But it was soon after that both of the sisters kind of entered that kind of catatonic state. She was able to barely hold it together long enough to get back to the ship.
Okay. So I'm gonna do something a little bit different with my Warriors Code, which is a perk, and I'm simply gonna, show I know I know what you're going through. I know what it means. I know about the embarrassment, and whatnot of, walking wounded without actually being wounded. And as I slowly release the bond, I'm going to kind of reach forward, like in, my physical form, and hug her and say, Krizik, no. But Krizik going to make everything okay again.
So you feel like you actually feel like a tension kind of leave her body as you hug her, like she's been holding it the whole time, not since you got here, but since since the thing happened in the city, and she just begins to weep.
Well, I'm finished. I'm going to get up and leave. Raz can stay and do what he wants.
Well, I don't know anything about what just happened because that was like all just in your mind, right? I just basically want to let them know that we're actually working to prevent whatever's happening to them and stop their dreams. I am still curious, like, who might have come and visited them in person. But they don't really seem like they're lucid enough to be able to tell, huh? Well,
So
I guess I was gonna say basically I just want to like kind of bolster them and tell them to hang in there. But could I like check with maybe one of the orderlies and see if anybody had come to visit them?
that would probably be a better source of information. So one of the things that you kind of like what you just witnessed was, Krizik and Quadria kind of like staring into each other's eyes, and you could tell something was going on. You don't know exactly what, and then then they kind of like break the stare, and Krizik comes forward and hugs her, and you visibly see that she was holding this tension and her body was tense like a coil, like a spring, so much so that it wasn't even noticeable until she let go of it, and then and you've seen her begin to weep, and then and then Krizik withdrew, and then she kind of like settled up to her sister to kind of like snuggle up to her and comfort her as well, or possibly seeking her own comfort.
I mean, can I? I'm gonna ask if they're okay. I mean, I guess comfort them myself. Sure.
We will be. We will. I think so. I think it's going to get better. But right now, it's just really hard to tell when we're here and when we're dreaming. There's so many ripples.
But I'm gonna take out my old, maybe like a military insignia or badge that I don't wear out anymore, but I keep with me, and I'm gonna give it to Cordria, and tell her that like whenever she's unsure of what's real, to just focus on this, and it'll help her like remember what is real.
Okay.
And also if she can try, like if anybody comes to see her, to try and get word to us, because I guess I don't want to make them scared because people were after Krizik, but I do want to know, because I mean if they're looking for psychics, then they might come to get them. So yeah, I would just basically say like, look, if anything seems unusual, or if you just want to talk or anything, please like get word to me, and I'll do my best to help.
So she takes the insignia you hand her, and it's basically like a medal, and she kind of puts it in her hand and begins unconsciously rubbing her thumb across it and kind of like fingering the insignia, and it seems to comfort her a little bit. And she starts saying to herself, "Yeah, the ripples will fade. The ripples will fade. They're gonna fade.
I promise they will."
And so with that, so you leave here. You want to just grab any of the orderlies? You want to go back to the front desk?
To the front desk where the nurse was, the Nurse Ratchety type nurse.
Yeah. All right, so you approach her at the desk, and so how was your visit?
It was good to see my friends again. I it's good to see that they're doing a little better. I am curious, have they had any other visitors in the last few days?
A brother.
A brother? A twin brother? Or
No,
just
no.
another dwarf?
Triplets for dwarves would be extremely rare. But no, just a brother. I don't know if he was younger or older, but
Hmm.
he had his identification papers.
I see. We weren't aware that they even had another sibling. May I ask what his name was?
Sergey Bright Tower.
But no other visitors?
That was the only one.
Okay. If they need anything, please get in touch with me, and I'll tell her like where I'm staying. I just want to help out. They're very close friends and fellow dwarves.
Will do. Generally, people that check in here, they usually don't have a whole lot of interaction with the outside world. It's usually a one-way stop.
What is their treatment like? Like, who admitted that? It's like not in character, but like, did the Aether Natty, like, is that who admitted them here? And it's like paying their bills and stuff. Okay.
They kind of
I
like
would probably know that, right?
Yeah, you would know that. They didn't know really what else to do with them, and nothing conventional that they tried really worked. So,
Okay.
and unfortunately, this place tends to be like a storehouse for the mad.
Okay. I guess that was really all I wanted to know. So, I will thank the nurse for her time and rejoin Krezik.
Okay.
And I'll ask, I guess I'll ask him what went on in there.
Yeah, I'm going to be like vague, but still explain in general, that they did get attacked by something different than what we faced.
Something different. Man, this is getting out of control. All right. Well, I thank you for your help, my friend. And I guess that's it. I would probably just head back to the base, I suppose.
The headquarters.
Yeah.
So, it's been about a week, and initially they thought it was going to be about 2 weeks worth of repairs, but because of Bunny's hard work and diligence, you've actually been able to mop things up in that week's time. There were some inefficiencies you were able to clear up, and you've actually been able to get a lot more work out of your maintenance crew than was initially anticipated.
Woohoo!
So the Morning Hawk once again is ready to take flight.
Question is, where is it going to take flight to?
That is one of the questions to be answered. So with that, Israel, you're on the ship, and you know it's been fully repaired, and the crew has managed to pull it together and get things done much faster. And also as a kind of observer, since you're just there kind of doing security and not with, you don't have a particular lot of things to do, you're able to see how well that the crew actually responded to Bunny's leadership and getting things going, which probably might have been a surprise to you.
Probably. I will actually go out of my way to congratulate the kobold on his success. I never call him by his name. I just the kobold.
Well, thank you, sir. I try my best.
You did very well here. Better than expected.
So, and I guess the other thing that really seemed to help was the fact that you're actually sleeping on the ship and you pretty much never left. What you found a lot of the maintenance crew ended up working longer hours than they would normally work. as an unintended side consequence of your of your work ethic or a lack of anything better to do.
Did they feel pressured into doing so? Or like, do I get that any of that, or was it literally just, well, I'm there working too, so they just kept at it as well?
I would use the word inspired instead.
Okay.
They felt inspired to work, to try and match your level of work.
Cool.
And then quite a few of them did actually learn some things. Although you're an Etherficer, but you're what I would call a non-conventional Etherficer, where others, they study in guilds or apprenticeships, where you're kind of like self-taught and independent. A good example is where the Etherficer gnome that came in, he was familiar with other Etherficers' works, where you kind of like bash everything together and you're kind of self-contained. So like you don't belong to a community of peers per se. And this is actually one of your first times working with other Etherficers, and even like, not that everyone in the maintenance crew is an Etherficer, but other workmen as well, and working as a team like this. So this is more than likely a completely new experience to you.
That and actually being in charge of something is, another whole cloth newness for him. I mean, he's used to being bullied into doing what he's supposed to.
So with that, what do you guys want to do? Israel, you've been kind of communicating back and forth, so you would know that the morning hawk is ready to fly again. Do you want to assemble the team?
Yes.
Okay, so we can go from there. So you guys find yourself back in the conference room, the war room, strategy room, whatever you want to call it.
And I will also send a note to the Commodore in case she wants to attend and has time to.
That's a he. Or do you mean the captain of the ship? That was the she.
Geraldine Flinsenhauser or whatever?
Yeah, Geraldine. He's a he.
Okay, he.
There was Captain Varkin, which that was the female captain of the Morning Hawk.
I'll send a note also to Captain Varkin.
Okay.
That basically we're getting together. The ship is refitted and is fixed, and we're getting together to discuss what should be done next.
Okay. So with that, you guys are in the conference room. Geraldine is there, and Leslie Varkin is there as well. And the Commodore actually turns the floor over to you, Israel, since you've assembled everyone.
I will go over all the information that's been given me concerning whatever I've been told about the twins, however much. And if Dr. Lucy has provided me with information, I will pass it along. If not, I will say the doctor possibly has important information. I will actually praise the Kobold for diligent work on board the ship. And frankly, after their adventure of dealing with the cult and everything, and after the information that the various party members have learned, we need to decide where to go next or what to do next. And I will ask the Commodore to speak next if he has any suggestions or even orders from the Ethernati about what they think should be done.
So in both the private compliments as well as the public, Bunny doesn't take compliments well. He kind of like he'll say thank you and whatever else, but it always seems to be uncomfortable when receiving it. He's not used to it.
So keep complimenting him if you want to torment the kobold. Gotcha. So either Lucy or Raz, do you guys want to present? Or Krezik, do you guys want to present your findings?
Sure. I'll thank Commodore Flinsenhauer for sending for Schliz and talk about how he is looking into the manufacture of those boots and what they do, but personally, just kind of explain like I don't know if this is exactly like a priority threat beyond just somebody wanting to steal our technology, but I am concerned with these monsters, and I'll explain that like there's several kind of horrifying creatures that are that we encountered in Haven, and that seem to be trying to exert their influence here, and that I kind of agree with Israel that assaulting them is probably a good idea. Plus, I'm just kind of itching to bash something.
I think that's a terrible idea.
Okay.
We
Dude.
nearly died the first time. These things are quite out of our league. We need to know more what we're dealing with before we just go rushing in and trying to take them out.
We nearly died.
Some did. Some were wiped away from existence. These are not things that will merely kill you. These are things that will completely erase you. We wouldn't even
True.
remember those gnomes at all.
So do
It's
we?
up with the killing these the cultists and the like? It seems to make the main dude, the Grand Poobah Turkey, stronger. We've got to
That
find
as well.
some. We've got to find some alternate way. So, like, rather than killing the thing, cut off its legs so that it floats away or something.
So
Maybe
Dave,
bring
do
that
we
city
actually,
to the ground.
Dave, do we actually remember that there were people that were wiped out, and we have to consult papers to remember their names, or is it only when we see the names on the paper that any of it comes to memory?
So you know people were wiped out of existence. You don't know who they are until you see the names written down.
And logically, this makes absolutely no sense, right?
Correct. Yeah. So and actually, one of the things that has been started in the war room is there's actually like a cork board with names on it, and the names of the gnomes that were wiped out of existence, they're actually been placed on it. And the colonels basically, or the commodore said basically any others will be put up there as well, just so that they're always in the forefront. We remember the sacrifice they made.
So we, at least so far, have two ideas. One is direct confrontation. The other is to learn more information. Direct confrontation is relatively easy. What does the good doctor propose then we do to learn more about our opponent?
We had a suggestion that was thrown out at some point in their previous days that we should attempt to breach the surface and perhaps gather more information from below. I feel that that would be the wisest decision at this juncture.
The cities are from the ground, right? Like they were raised up.
Yeah, in the very distant past.
There is another thing.
Well, as I say, why don't we try to find out where Haven was on the ground and go there? Perhaps the secret to defeating our enemies lies in where the city came from.
Another point. These daggers are made from a very rare metal, and it's extremely difficult to get one's hands on, and the men that we fought were very clearly not their best, and they were all armed with it. They have to be getting it from somewhere.
So do we think that there would be more of these daggers then in the building we blew up?
It's possible. It's worth a check.
Is the Commodore is here? Yes.
He is.
would it be possible to assemble a dig team?
We could probably manage that. And also, I would like to speak to the idea of destroying the city. That might not be advisable because it would appear that most of our problems really began to snowball when the city was first destroyed. So I'm not so sure destroying it again would be the thing that we want to do.
Well, I think at some point in time we do need to get back and explore that island. But I do agree that the good doctor lady makes a point that we need to know more about what's there before we can do such a thing.
And when we can, it seems to be a good idea to figure out some way to restore the sigil.
And to do that, we need to be there, right?
Yes. And not dead, which is the important part.
So it would seem the Morning Hawk's next destination, if possible, should be the world below.
Well, what do we think we could gather there?
If we could find out where on the surface Haven came from, perhaps there's answers there.
Do we have information on where that might be? I mean, the cities rose a very long time ago, and without any kind of records, we could come upon a crater, but it could be just a natural, a natural formation, or it could be where any of the 13 cities come from.
I know where there's a library and a great number of historians.
I was just going to say that.
So you want to go to Elf City?
Felcrest would certainly, if anywhere, have the information we're looking for.
Oh yes, that sounds like fun. Let's go there.
Your glibness does you no credit.
Oh, he's not serious?
Felcrest may not be a bad idea. There, as you said, there is a wealth of knowledge there.
And Ethernati there too, right?
Yes,
There's
we are
reasons
everywhere.
everywhere.
Knowledge of our enemies would certainly give us an edge.
Or at least perhaps it'll let us know where to go next.
So we're off to the library then.
Oh, please.
No, I mean seriously.
Yes.
Sounds reasonable
Unless
to me.
anyone has a good reason not to.
You could travel to the library and then from there, perhaps an expedition to the surface.
Unless we find a reason to resupply between.
Well, we'd be able to resupply in Felcrest.
Unless there were things that we needed that couldn't be found there, but yes.
Well, of course.
So
The lady is correct.
So who is our contact in Falcrest, and do we have to do we have to report back to the Commodore somehow, or is he like this city's numero uno for the Ethernati, and there's somebody else in Falcrest?
In Felcrest, you're going to have to deal with their Ethernati organization, and it'll be whoever they stick you guys with. So, like, they don't have any say in this city what happens there.
Right. So what I'm saying is, like, the Ethernati doesn't have central leadership. It's leadership based on the city, correct?
Correct.
Okay. But the cities, when they do talk, which they must have at some point in time to put forth this voyage, they're at least all on somewhat of the same page, right?
Yes, when they have an annual Great Conclave where they all gather to discuss matters where nothing ever gets agreed upon or settled, except for this one time, and of it, came this expedition. And even now, you've probably even though it's only a week out from your return, from your different channels where you probably have connections back to your cities where you're originally from, you're probably hearing grumblings of, how this was a horrible idea and look what's happened already. So you guys will also have to decide whether you agree with those grumblings or if you think you guys are on the right track and this is the way to go individually as well.
Why are there grumblings? What's been so awful that's happened? A building blew up with some bad people in it, and
people have died. People have been marked insane. People have been wiped from literal existence.
But,
Yeah, but not in
usually when you blow
But
up
not-
a building, the people run. Those people stayed.
and
So,
that's
yeah.
eerie. And really, only that was our fault. Like, on the whole, the rest of it was really caused by these strange creatures. They do need to be dealt with, as much as I would hate to admit it. I agree with Israel.
Well, those different sources, which are basically would be like different factions within each individual Eternati, is basically they're calling the expedition a failure.
It's been a week.
The
They're
only
clear.
thing,
You guys have been back for a week, but yeah.
the only thing that I think is actually of any real concern is the people being wiped from existence. This is a fallacy that I can't wrap my brain around. Like I know that it happened, but I can't recall any details about these people until I see their names written down.
And that is exactly why we need to stop it.
Well, right, but that's the only thing that Bunny really looks at as that's the failure and the thing that he can't figure out how that's even possible.
So with that, the Commodore says, well, we will adjourn this meeting. Within the next 3 days, you will set out for Fall Crest. We'll restock the Morning Hawk, and you will go on a fact-finding mission, and from there you will determine where to go to next, whether it will be down to the surface or somewhere else.
Fair enough.
yes. And unless there's someone who tells me I can't, I'll ask Jeremiah and Gunther if they want to go with us.
Well, some of the crew will definitely be getting replaced, so that definitely wouldn't be a problem for you to request them.
Okay.
Do we have anything in place to vet anyone that's getting replaced?
Well, the Nerdarchy organizations themselves would. Whether you guys want to come up with your own means of vetting.
No, that's more out of character thing than what Bunny would really be worried about.
And also
other people in charge that'll.
So it would basically go through Leslie Varkin, the captain, and Sir Humphrey Smith, which is the first mate, and then you guys as well would have final say.
Those Gunther and Jeremiah were part of the Eternity, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody going on this is definitely a part of the organization, especially being on the Morning Hawk because it is a prototype and kind of it's somewhat of a secret. They're not going to, they are trying to keep it as quiet as possible.
Does the Morning Hawk have weapons on it? I mean, like maybe cannon even?
It does. It has ether cannons.
Oh.
Basically, almost like a ship on a a seafaring vessel.
I wanted good old-fashioned black powder cannons.
You can request it.
Actually, Israel will do that. Will request both, actually, because how do we know this monstrosity, if we run across it again, can't cancel out our ether cannons.
We'll need an extra day to retrofit some black powder cannons on there, but it is definitely doable.
Okay.
And so if everyone is in agreement, I will begin making preparations, attend to any affairs you might have in the city over the next 4 days, and then you will set out for Felcrest. And I suppose word should probably be sent to Thomas. If he wishes to return home with the Morning Hawk, that is acceptable.
I'll stick with him.
Excellent. So I think we'll wrap it up right there. Next week, we'll start off with our expedition to Felcrest, as well as possibly to the surface. So I want to thank everyone who's been hanging out and watching with us, and everyone who's been chatting away in the chat. Thank you guys for joining me for the game. Greatly appreciate it. Remember, you can find Bill over at Comic Book University. Everybody else you can find at nerdarchy.com. We're on Nerdarchy, the YouTube channel, where you are right now. And go check out those books from Ty and Megan. So until next time, guys, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy.